executive and founder of the Space Institute, a national security nonprofit. He's led multi-billion-dollar security missions for federal government and advised top leaders in industry and government. So we're super thankful to have him here today. Thank you for coming and taking time out of your day, Vishal.
All good. Well, great to see everyone. I traditionally, let me get myself off this spotlight so I'm looking at myself the whole time. Sorry about that. Let's see here. I usually I jump into a lot of these and I don't want to speak at you the whole time, but just by way of introduction, yes, my name's Vishal. I'm a retired Marine and I've been in industry since about 2015, 2016. To give you kind of the a short summary. Oh, here we go. I can do it this way so I can see everybody. There you guys are. All right. Well, I think to give you the short summary, um, what I do now, I'm an operating partner at Crosspoint Capital, the world's only cybersecurity focused private equity firm. We also have a venture arm, and I'm on their executive leadership team now. Prior to Crosspoint Capital, I was the executive head of all of cybersecurity, sales, and architecture at Microsoft for the U.S. federal government and national security. So I built all 11 of our businesses at Microsoft to both sell, drive, and deliver cybersecurity services to the U.S. federal government and defense industrial base. And I was doing that from 2021 onward, and before that. Microsoft for a year, and I'll tell you how that ended up happening. Startup before that, and then before that, $45,000 a year couldn't pay my mortgage type of job for the first 2 years before I went the other way. So that's a little bit about my background. Just by way of going a little deeper, yes, I was in the Marine Corps for 21 years. I was not a cyber person. I was a recon guy. Went into the F-18 community and then went to MARSOC. Uh, in 2015, my data was breached. I was doxxed by ISIS and protected by a Joint Terrorism Task Force for 2 years after an ISIS hit to my family and I in 2015, which forced me out of the Marine Corps. And then I lived under protection for 2 years and realized it was my data that did that. Um, and I taught myself how to code. I did that, couldn't find a job for almost 8 months, convinced someone to bring me on to tech, took a $45,000 a year job and I was prior enlisted, commissioned, but I was, got out as a lieutenant colonel, took a $45,000 a year job, drove to and from LA for 2 hours every day for 2 years, learning and doing that job. My wife still worked at the same time. We had two kids, we had one on the way. It was a freaking shit sandwich, trying to make ends meet. Um, I interviewed from everything from timeshare sales to working at Starbucks, until I got a role in tech, and I taught myself how to spell cybersecurity, how to spell technology, and then found a mentor, brought me to my next company, Patriot Consulting, where I was a CRO. Built that company out to about 15 million in 2 years, and then my mentor my next mentor brought me over to Microsoft to lead all of cybersecurity advisory for Walt Disney Company, MGM, and all these other things without any of the pedigree. And it was simply because she said one thing. She said, "We don't need the next engineer to solve the world's problems. We need someone to think differently about it." But the trick there was my resume didn't freaking matter. None of what I wanted to do matter. It was my track record at that point for 4 years in building relationships with people I can trust and having someone that essentially trusted me to make mistakes and put me in a role that I wasn't qualified for. And even though I applied for 40 jobs at Microsoft over those last 2 years, Amazon, I didn't get a single call back. Her one call opened up the door for an interview there, where I got on board. And then within a year at Microsoft, no one looked at my background, no one looked at anything, and I was paying to rebuild the entire U.S. federal business for Microsoft, which was about 100 million at that point, and I left in July this last year, and I grew that business to about $6.5 billion, which is the largest cybersecurity business in the world. So now I'm at Crosspoint Capital. For those cyber enthusiasts, we own RSA Conference, about 17 other companies. I'm an operating partner there. We invested in about 70 other companies, and I sit on multiple like advisory boards, National Cybersecurity Center, big companies like Wiz and others. Um, so with that being said, I've hired hundreds of veterans and non-veterans alike. I think gone through thousands of interviews. I put some stuff in the chat window, and I know I had limited time with you today. You could follow me on LinkedIn. I always put a bunch of veteran content stuff out there. I have my own nonprofit that I do on the side. We just partnered with Operation MOS, which takes all your skills and all of that stuff utilizing AI and puts it into an executive style resume that I would have looked at Microsoft, and you can actually use it to actually put your entire resume together with the job that you want to go after, and it'll actually translate it to how an executive at Microsoft, Google, Amazon would actually see your resume. I also have never hired anyone um, that hasn't provided me a walking deck. And that's just a personal pet peeve. So if you haven't done that, I put an example of the first walking deck I ever I would tell people to go look at. It doesn't have to be that, but think about the walking deck as humanizing a resume. And as you're having informationals with people, your resume is going to get lost with the hundreds of others that we look at. But if you leave behind a walking deck and you say, hey, this is a 2-3 page on me and who I am and what I like and and what I am as a person and why I should have me, and here's a 30, 60, 90, I usually remember those. Right. So I would encourage all of you to have a walking deck that you can quickly tune, change all of that stuff. It's a good leave behind. It's a good thing to send to someone before you talk to them. It's a good thing to tweak. At the end of the day, a resume is not going to get you to the job. You're going to get the job. How do you prop the door open? How do you leave the door open? And how do you sell yourself? The last thing is character strengths. And I would say I'm going through this really fast because I want to entertain questions and answers from everything from pay to whatever you need. Um, but when I interviewed, and I still interview quite a bit for the companies we hire for, is I'm not really looking at your resume anymore. I'm asking about your strengths, your weaknesses, things that you do well, things that you don't. But uh, one thing that you could do is you can take the free character test that's on that site for the VIA that I posted, and come up with a 2-minute story of why you got the answers if you did. If perseverance was your top strength, like what did you do professionally that perseverance is in your top strength? Like, hey, in my last role, I failed at this, but to meet this metric, this is what I did. And I've seen that over and over again. And this, is why I love the character strength of perseverance. That's a good 20-second story to share because it's not telling someone what you did, it's showing them what you did. There's a big difference, right? A lot of veterans will come and say, I've done this, I've led teams at this rank, at this rank. I was like, I don't fucking care, right? I don't care what rank you were. I don't care who you are. I don't care how many people you think you've led. Um, but if someone comes up to me and says, listen, I'm I'm moving into my next phase of my career. I want to get into cyber. I don't know XYZ, but I really want to work for Microsoft. I actually did self-study on these 3 certifications. I took the test on this one. I understand the functionality here. This is how I understand it. This is where I think we could go. I'm like, holy crap. This person is going to ramp in 3 months where a traditional person is going to ramp in 6. And I'm trying to mitigate that. Right. So you really have to invest in what you want to do before you go get the job. You can't base your job skills off of what you did in the military. And I say that with a great assault, and I say that like a silver bullet. It's not a silver bullet approach. It's kind of what helped me in terms of, listen, if you get the job that you've done for the last 20 years, you're going to get paid and you're going to get the job that you did the last 20 years. But if you want to pivot, you want to make money, you want to do something else, you want to invest in your passion, you're going to have to invest in that a little bit. Whether that's what I did was I cold called 3,000 people at Cisco. I didn't get a job at Cisco, but I knew more about that company when I interviewed for them by the time I got the interview that they thought I'd worked there for 15 years, which ended up getting me the job that I ended up getting was $45,000 a year for a Cisco partner. But I knew so much about the ecosystem at that point that my job was easy and I was able to pivot and pivot and pivot. You have to invest in what you want. No one's just going to get it for you, and you don't take this whatever way you want. As veterans, we don't deserve a job. We don't deserve a job because we served. We served for other reasons. Um, and as an employer, I'm taking a lot of risk hiring someone that's never done something before, right? So help me mitigate that risk when you come on board. And I think that's what I'm looking for when people usually come over. And most often not, when you explain that, you look at that, you put your ego to the side, you'll go do that. and you'll be like, hey, this is how I'm mitigating the risk. This is how I'm not doing it. This is how I am doing it. Um, so giving you my background, kind of giving you my philosophy. I don't want to talk at you for anymore. We've got about 20 minutes left, and I can talk more if we don't have any questions. But I'm an open book. I've for most of you, some of you are doing the Syracuse University program, I'm sure. Some of you are doing this one. Some of you are doing Vets in Tech. I'm involved with almost all of them, or I've sponsored them, or I've donated to a lot of them through myself or my nonprofit. So I'm an open book for veterans, and it's why when you guys reached out, love being on here. So please just fire away.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That was a crazy, crazy start of a story, so I'm really excited to hear more. Matthias, go ahead.
Hey, sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Hey, Vishal.
Yeah, Vishal, VJ, that's fine. Yeah, go for it.
How are you doing today?
Good man. How are you?
Living the dream, man. Living the dream. I have a question. So yeah, you mentioned a walking deck. Is that just kind of like so? From what I'm gathering from the link you posted about yours, is that just kind of like a mini website? Like it's kind of
No.
like a
So
more
what I like
advanced
to do,
resume.
yeah. So like one of the, and I'll put this in a story so that it connects to other questions if someone has it. Most of you are putting together resumes and you're sending resumes out, or you're posting resumes, or you have a cover letter, or you're putting these things together. You're like, how do I get my resume to get me through the automated ATS and all this other stuff, right? What I tell people all the time is go connect with a whole bunch of non-veterans, go try to land a 20-minute meeting with them. Before you land with them, send them this deck, right? And what it is essentially two or three PowerPoint slides to say like, and you could change it for each person you send, but make it easy to change. Hey, how do you say your name?
Matthias.
Matthias. This is Matthias Kerr, project manager, Boeing, right? With the freaking thing on there, or whatever, you unmilitarize it. Next page. Hey, this is a little bit about me. This is like, technical program manager, blah, 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 blah. Next slide. Coolest shit I've done in the last 24 in the last 365 days. This. Next slide. Hey, if I was to take this job, this was the first 30 days, this is my first 60 days, this is the first 90 days, this is how I see your company, this is how I would do it. And maybe there's a last page, or maybe it's in the first page. I'm a Packers fan. I love hockey. I love underwater basket weaving. And here's my family. Here's the difference. I'm seeing you as a person and as a rounded individual rather than just writing on a resume. And what that's going to do is if the conversation goes south, there's nothing to talk about. You could, hey, let me pull up my walking deck and let me walk you through who I am, what I want to do, and why I want to talk to you. Or as a lead behind, hey, that was a great conversation. Let me send you my walking deck. On the last slide, you'll see how I'm thinking about your company if I was to even come on in the first 30, 60, 90 days, right? You're showing proactive thought. You're showing that you did your research. And even if it's dead wrong, I'm seeing how you think and how you're going to make decisions. And that's really what I'm hiring for, right? Because I can't validate anything else. But if I can see how you think and how you're making decisions, and I see that you put it on paper, that's helping me. So there's so many uses for a walking deck. But first and foremost, it's humanizing your resume.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good question. I had no idea what it was either, so if he didn't ask that question, I for sure was going to. Greg, go ahead.
Hi, VJ. When you started, you had said that you just taught yourself how to code. How did you decide which language to start with? Because I'm kind of in the same spot right now.
Well, I didn't know what languages were and how they were, so I just went on YouTube and then I found a Microsoft site and then I started learning KQL and I started doing all these things. Here's the thing, it just depends on where you want to be in the tech stack and what you're
Mhm.
doing. I would start with the company, I would start with the product, work backwards from there. A lot of vibe coding happening right now. Is coding going to be even real in 10 years? Is it not? Do you want to be a deep coder or an analyst? This is the language you have to do. You have to get a Sec Plus, for example, right?
Mhm.
Um, there's products like Haiku, which are like
Mhm.
gamified cybersecurity thing where like you could play it's like Duke Nukem in a game and it logs all your hours and your languages and all that stuff for you while you're playing a game and then it just automatically shits out a resume where you give it to Microsoft and it'll say it'll put you in. There's things that you could do. There's no wrong answer, Greg, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
But attach it to where you think it's going. Just learning a language isn't going to get you a job. But if you say like, hey, I like what these cloud companies are doing. I like what
Mhm.
OpenAI is doing. I like what these guys are doing. Well, understand what languages they use and learn
Mhm.
those, right?
Okay.
You're gonna have to get the foundations done first anyway, but focus on the products that you want to go support, fix, implement, drive, or the strategies or the companies, and navigate that way. And each of these have their own programs. Microsoft Learn is actually free. And as a veteran, I think there used to be through MSSA, or you have to go back and look at it. But I think as a veteran, or if many of your students, you can get 4 certifications for free. And a lot of our AI certifications there were free as well. So you could go on the Microsoft Learn, and without even taking the test, you can go learn everything. Right. So find the companies you want to work for. And then when you have those conversations with those companies, you can also say, like, listen, I'm learning this language, but I've also taken your SC 900. And this is what you guys are doing. And this is how you guys do this. So that goes to any industry. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that was great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nick, go ahead.
Hey, appreciate you coming on. Awesome story. I would say persistence is key from what you've told us. It sounds like you went through a lot to get where you are. I'm an AppSoc guy, so there we go. My question to you is more in regards to your thought, since you're in the space with AI agents becoming autonomous actors in enterprise environments. Do you see identity infrastructure becoming a new security parameter? If so, how do you think architects should be designing that around that situation? I'm just curious because I've been reading a lot of stuff and hearing a lot of things, and I'm trying to become a solutions architect, and that's kind of where I'm headed, if you will.
Well, that's right. I mean, I won't go deep in it because I'm sure some people on the call are probably like, I don't care too much about identity and all of that stuff. But I will say, agentic solutions, especially around the AI realm, are all that happening right now. But nothing is. I think identity is not the new perimeter. It's always been the perimeter. It's just becoming more a greater priority. You look at some of the acquisitions that are currently happening with Palo Alto Networks. You look at things like like browsers, like Seraphic that is getting acquired. You look at Island. You look at another one called Primary. All of them solve the agentic solving. Non-tech idiots like me that eat crayons from the Marine Corps that want to get into tech. Like I can use those things to do it, but one thing I can't solve for is access and identity. Right. I sit on a global cyber council made up of the top 40 CISOs globally. And our topic last year was quantum. And we're talking to the top quantum physicists from Russia and all these other places. And they came in and they said, listen, some of them have solved actually technically for teleportation and moving matter from one side to the other of the lab. And they've done specifically over at Caltech. It's pretty amazing. But what we're talking about is space-time continuum, right? And they say, listen, quantum is insane. It's changing everything, and we need like lots of like fields of steel mills to go build these infrastructure on because it's so hot, right? And like the hottest place in the world is technically plus or minus 1 or 2, but it's the lab at Google that has the chip that's like 1 billion degrees, right? But it's also the coldest place in the world because of what they have to cool it to. To answer your question, the physicists say, listen, we're working on these problems, but one thing that we can't solve for that still needs to be solved for is access, which starts with identity. So if that answers your question, yes, I think it is the perimeter. I think it'll always be the perimeter, and it's what's always going to be the weakest link. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that totally answered my question. I appreciate you, sir. And I dropped my for those military people that are interested in joining cyber, I have built an app where you can put your MOS in it or your AFSE, or I'm not sure what the Marines call it, but you put your job in there specific, and AI will essentially aggregate it out and figure out, you would be a good fit for this position. And you can kind of take that and tailor your career choices based on that. So I added that in there for anybody who's interested. It's free. I'm not charging anybody for it. But I know there's a lot of people who are like interested in cyber. They just don't know where to start. I think that's a starting point.
A lot of money in cyber, a lot of mission longevity, and there's a lot of things you can do from sales, technical.
Oh, Vishal, you're muted. Not sure how that happened.
Oh,
sorry.
I was gonna say there's a lot. Cyber's a great community. There's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of money in cyber. For those of you who are looking at like what our base salary should look like in the industry, the XYZ, feel free to ask. But it's a great industry. It's growing. What I will say is like AI like go vibe code, go use everything, go start doing more with less. Yeah. All right, what
Yeah.
else you guys got? Who else has got a question?
Yeah, Nick, did you have another question? His hand is back up.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm not trying to take over. Nobody
No.
else raised their hand, so I got him in here. I'm trying to say some things. What would your suggestion be for people in IDEs? Google's anti-gravity is out now, and Cursors was a previous IDE. Do you suggest people just learn IDEs rather than coding, or what's your thoughts on all
I mean, I
those
don't
kinds
really
of
have any
things?
thoughts on it, to be honest with you, right? I think you do what you're passionate about, what's fun, because eventually it's going to get boring. And if that's the case, there's a veteran I hired 3 years ago. He was an Air Force dude, um, combat veteran, Purple Heart, all that stuff, right? Just, I mean, he was like a PJ. He was a PJ. And he interviewed. I didn't look at his walking deck, or I didn't look at his resume. I looked at his walking deck. Really good speaker. I asked him, and I'm not technical. I was like, "Hey, you want to work at Microsoft? I get it, but uh, you can't just be here advocating for us. Like everybody here is technical, even the non-technical people. I need you to be technical." Came back the next day, spun up his own lab, figured it out, did a demo, like did all this stuff. He's like, "This is my dream job," and I was like, "All right." So we give an offer. Base salary was 170,000 a year. On target, I think was like 320. I think he made about a half a million that year. Uh, and it was awesome for him. But after a year, he was like, I want to lead people. I led a whole bunch of people in the Air Force. I'm a good leader. I don't want to be technical anymore. I want to make the decisions. I want to do this. There's a way, and there's organizations, a small organization that may want that type of leadership at a 240,000 person organization. I was like, if you want to be a leader here, you have to understand the P&L. You have to understand where my OpEx is. You have to understand the sales market. You have to understand this. No doubt that you can't inspire people and manage people, but there's a difference in leading in industry. It became such a thing that his work started degrading. He started doing less. And he's like, I don't want to be a technical person anymore. I want to be a leader. I want to do more with AI. I want to do this. Ultimately, uh, through mutual means, we parted ways with him it was probably about a 2 year span. It was his lifespan. Now you think about that for some of you, like he threw away a $500,000 job that you think if I get paid enough, I can do this forever. But the intensity, the stress, the impact of that job with the culture and all of that stuff, because he didn't love it, but he was able to do it right away for that short period of time because it was so exciting, but he didn't love it over time, was degrading his lifestyle, was degrading everything he wanted to do. So the reason I tell you that, Nick, and you asked that question is like, do what you're passionate about, do what's fun. The money will come. I guarantee you the money will come if you want it. If you don't need it, just do what's fun and live the life you want to live, right? I ran the entire US federal Microsoft business from Carlsbad here in San Diego, right? And I said no to the offer when they asked me. And they came back a month later and they said, you know what, actually, we'll let you commute from there, right? So, like, do what's right for you, but know where your line is. Know when you have to take a job. When I took that $45,000 a year job, I was still interviewing for a job at Starbucks because I knew that I was about a week out from not being able to pay anything, right? So know where that line is, draw it, make a decision. But nothing says you can't pivot from the shittiest job in the world to something amazing one day. I've only been out of the Marine Corps for just 10 years, right? Um, and I'm in a dream scenario now where I probably won't pivot anymore now for the most part from what I'm doing. But the ramp was really fast because I left every job I went to, I probably left about $200,000 to $400,000 on the table every pivot, which was a conversation my wife and I had every time, right? And I started back at fresh and we built it up. So you have to know what I guess the one question I have for all of you is know when you operate at your best. Is it when your back's against the wall? Are you in a hammock in Belize? Do you need a team around you? But try to strive to be in that scenario in the decisions you make. When you're writing your resume, don't write it by yourself if you're not good at things by yourself. If you're going to go work in a business and it's not a team and you need a team, don't go there, right? know when you operate at your best, know what the environments are that you need to thrive, and try to mimic that as much as you can, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Great questions, everybody. That was awesome. Talking a little bit more about the Spades Institute, can you kind of go into why you founded that and what problem you're trying to solve?
Yeah,
And
yeah, you guys are all more than welcome to go to the space. I put the Operation MOS link or for our Veterans Initiative in that first thing, so you could go to our website that way. I won't go too deep into it because most of you are looking for jobs. You're looking for three things. I want to live where I want to live. I want to do X, Y, I want to get paid X, Y, Z, and I will do whatever I need to make those two things work. So I get that's the
yeah,
triangle in most of your brains right now. The Space Institute was founded 2 years ago when I was sitting next to the newly appointed deputy, Tim Kasiba. He's a good friend of mine. And I looked on stage and I said, why can't we just all have better conversations that aren't just top level and full of shit? Like, let's put ourselves in a room and actually talk about real stuff without repercussion. So I started a nonprofit for us to be able to do that with public sector, private sector executives, meaning the top CEOs in the world and the top public sector folks, and started raising some money on it. And we do three initiatives really to advance democracy, freedom, ethics, but really to advance cyber and national security initiatives privately, without any fanfare, without any marketing, any crap like that. We do three things: public-private partnerships, fellowships with the deepest levels of government, and the third thing that we're hopping on and that we're starting with is veteran enablement, which is partnered with Operation MOS, which was with one of my favorite people in the world who created the thing, and then we're doing a partnership where we're going to take 3 to 5 veterans that are transitioning, and then for 3 months we're going to fly them to the CEOs of the largest companies in the world and have them spend a day with the CEO, CFO, PayPal of XYZ company, not to get a job, but to build a relationship, and that's it. So those are the things we're doing with Space. More than welcome to look at it, follow it on LinkedIn, other things. But that's a passion project for me to stay connected to national security while I do other things.
yeah, that sounds super cool. That's amazing. So for somebody in here that might want to get into the defense tech or national security career, what's something they could do right now to push them in the right direction?
I mean, you're in it. Everyone here is in it. Every company is a tech company. Every company is a national security company. Every company is a defense company. I would say don't force a square peg through a round hole. Just because you spent your last 24, 5, 10, 20 years in the service doesn't mean you need to do it to get a job. It may feel like the easy fit now. Maybe it is. Maybe use it to pivot. If you really love it and want to do it again, find the right fit
Mm,
and invest in it. If that's tech, it's not defense tech, it's just tech, right? Go invest in the tech that you like. Have an opinion and stick with it. Invest in your opinion, um, and be confident in that. Fail, and then use those failures as lessons. Um, I think those are big things to do, but believe in yourself. Apply for jobs. Uh, a minute left, and I'm happy to say I know you guys have to jump, so I'll stay on if for a minute extra or two. But the what I tell people all the time is go try to land 5 to 10 conversations a week with people not in the military at the companies you want to work for. 20-minute conversation. Don't ask for a job. Don't send them your resume. Leave them the walking deck as a leave behind. Get them to talk to you. Get them to talk to you about why they love their job, what they love most about it. And then you say, well, what people help you overcome the things that are the toughest part about their jobs, and what is that? And then ask for a connection to those people. And if you can connect with 10 to 15 people a week at a company you want to work for, by the time you get an interview there, you're going to know more about that company than either one of those people. And that's how you get into tech. That's how you get into defense. It's the analogy here is this is think about the job you did in the military. If you got somebody that didn't go through boot camp, didn't go through MLS school, didn't have a rank, didn't have a reputation, and they shipped them into your unit and said, this person needs to go fly F-18s, but they didn't speak the language, they didn't see the language, they don't know the language. Do you think you're going to put them in the jet? No. Right? Same thing with any of your jobs. What's different about the other way around? You've never been in their industry, you've never been doing that. Go learn the language, go speak the language, go get a feel for the language, and then talk to them and have them and talk to them in their language. And that will advance you a lot more, right? Instead of beating down the door of this is my MOS, this is what I did, go, hey, listen, you guys talked about operational resiliency. You guys talked about tech in this manner. This is what I think about it. Every company has its own language. Go learn it. Go speak it. And the only way to do that is to connect with 10 to 15 people from those companies a week until you feel like you've built that organic network. And that's some homework I'll give all of you. Do that for 30 days straight and then ping me on LinkedIn and tell me what happens. Literally, do it. Try to do 30 days straight. Try to get 10 people a week to talk to you from a single company. And then tell me you couldn't get an interview or you couldn't get a door open.
I would love, love, love to hear from one of you in 30 days. If one of you sticks with it and you message Vishal in 30 days, I would love to talk and have you on to talk about how that interview went and how that 30 days went.
Yeah, I used to give people used to reach out to me all the time for interviews at Microsoft, and I used to give them that challenge, and I have them document it, and I show them, give me the document. And I can tell. I'll look at your LinkedIn. I'll see how many connections go up. I'll see what goes down. I'll look at the analytics. I'll look at who you connected with. I'll do my due diligence, and I'll say, well, you didn't connect with anyone this week. You waited till Friday the last week, so you didn't go 30 days in a row. And I'll tell people, if you do this for 30 days straight, you connect with people. If you don't have an interview by 30 days, I'll give you an interview, right? And I'll probably end up doing that again here in the future as I hire for these companies that I'm sitting on now. But I challenge all of you to do it. If you're really struggling connecting, finding a job, you do that, you'll find something.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody put an emoji in the chat if you think we should do a challenge at Seven Eagle to where see how many of y'all can do that in a month. I think that'd be really interesting. Maybe none of you want to, but we'll have to talk about it later. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Vishal. You have an amazing story and some really, really good advice. I really appreciated listening to you. It sounds like a lot of people want to do the challenge, so I'm definitely gonna talk about it with the team and see if it's something we could do, because that's
Awesome.
a really, really good idea.
Hope this was helpful for all of you. It was great meeting all of you, and thanks again for asking me to come on, and good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for being here. Have a great rest of your day, Vishal.
All right, see you guys.